need to receive a specific notice, and that means you received it. But as I've said, throughout this presentation, it is important to obtain, the documentation I laid out. Some of the main documentation I've talked about is your position descriptions, organizational charts, performance evaluations, verifying that you're classified correctly in your position, verifying that your length of service is correct. So just your entire personnel file, your performance documents as well. And if you've already received a RIF notice, asking your Labor and Employment Relations Department to obtain those documents, as well. And then understanding that you have a right to challenge the action through the Merit Systems Protection Board, which is the main method there. And then understanding that, yes, you're going to be entitled to severance. You're going to be entitled to reemployment rights as well, even if you do not try to challenge the action. If we haven't received a RIF notice in the mail, should we assume we've been RIF'd? No, you need to receive a specific notice, and that means you received it. And so, if you gotten just an email notice, I think you need to respond and clarify to, your supervisor, LER, whether you're part of a RIF or not. So just because if they're saying they removed an entire competitive area, doesn't mean that you cannot challenge the action. You still have to look and see whether your service computation date was correct, whether your performance ratings were correct, because that could depend on whether or not you're in the correct competitive level. And I think that's something you should contact an attorney to discuss further, to determine whether or not a MSPB appeal is viable. And again, our information is on the screen here to, request a consultation with our firm. And then, again, we could offer representation for you during your challenge into that action. But I think that's why our firm has been offering, not only these webinars to give you this information, but our attorneys are able to talk with you individually about your personal circumstances, get the RIF notice or the emails or whatnot you've been receiving, and talk with you to determine how to properly proceed. So, I do encourage you to contact our firm, to set up your consultation, and then so we could go through your situation and determine how to proceed.